Greetings, greetings. Greetings, greetings, all divine beings. It is Witchy Poo coming back to you with another video. And if you are feeling kind, please subscribe. Witchy Poo has given it to you tonight on this Saturday, guys. Thank y'all for being a part of the tribe. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will be getting into some Aries, Taurus loves tomorrow night so we can get the week started off right, okay? So we are going to get into the Pisces, Brian, and the Aquarius, AJ. Shit. The Aquarius, Nick. I want to make AJ an Aquarius so bad. I apologize. I just did it on the other live. Now, these two were not so good of best friends. These two actually got into a lot of disputes, a lot of arguments, and I believe that it had a lot to do with what we just talked about in the previous reading. If you did not check it out, go back and watch it, and this will still be here, okay? It's the Backstreet's Back between Nick and AJ, and this is where the family setting comes in. Now, these boys, like I said, they weren't the best of friends, and they weren't the ones that could cooperate to get stuff done, but they did it. And, you know, feelings really are disconnected and misaligned just because of values. You know, Brian didn't grow up with this kind of chaos and traumatic stuff going on with his life. And so he really did not get this family dynamic when it came to Nick. Okay, and I think that in the beginning he felt sympathy, but then he obviously saw something or just was fed up with it. Okay, so that's what's coming out. We are going to get into the Pisces, Brian and Nick. Get it right, the Aquarius. All right. Okay, I'm just making sure we're live. We got a nice even split on the bottom of the deck. It is the 8 of Wands, just now telling me that we are here. So I hope y'all heard everything before. This is a forever thing when it comes to trying not to be frustrated, trying not to lose some sort of momentum, trying to keep the pace. Like I said, there's things that came in that Brian, I feel he never could find sympathy for anymore for some reason. Okay, let's split these, please. Aquarius, and then Pisces. Bottom of the deck again is the Lovers in reverse. This is not coming through as anything actual, so please. Hey, Daddy. Yeah, that's fine if you buy Walgreens. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Love you, bye. I apologize. Sorry, guys. There is no shared connection. I don't think there ever was, because there may have just been a conflict between the look and the peel. These boys have this certain thing that's about them that were heartthrobs back in the day. So this unshared, I guess, issue may have always been some sort of detachment where they couldn't connect in some way. It also comes through as a lot of trust issues when it comes to Brian for some reason with Nick. Spirits, what sign symbols, downloads, and messages do we have for these two boys who were not friends at all? Tell us more. First card we have is the 6 of Cups in reverse. Feelings always happen when people get abused and have debts, or money is here, and that's all I'm going to say. And then we have the Hangman also in reverse, Cancer energy. You got to know that people want to avoid sacrifices. They want to avoid being some sort of sacrifice. And particularly, I feel like Brian was just over the fact that it was always some sort of problem with Nick not wanting to get away from these people in this negative pattern. Like over and over again, things happen, but he was so common sensible. He felt he could have done something about it, and Nick just didn't. And then we have Justice, Libra energy. There is some sort of karmic consequence in the present. We have the Page of Swords. The Queen of Swords, there's that woman. And then the Sun. We have a lot of ego involved with the both of them. And that is just where we're at. All right. So why do we have this Six of Cups? What's the money? What's the feelings? What's the maybe not wanting to move on? Six of Wands. There's another 6. There's a King. And then there is the Ace with the Knight of Cups. I want to start with the Knight and the feelings. When it comes to insecurity, turmoil, somebody feeling like they look good, better than the other, you got to know that that creates a moody person. This vanity that comes in is between the both of them because they have some sort of devoted thing as to where they know they look good. So that's what they paid attention to, whether it was working out, clothes, smelling good, fashion, all that good stuff. They both were devoted to that, but somebody felt one or the other was manipulative. Whether Brian felt Nick was manipulative with the family, using that as a clutch, as a crutch, and using it as an excuse always, this does come through as some sort of balance and harmony with that. I don't feel Brian gave Nick enough recognition. I don't know who's older, but that comes through as some sort of respect. That comes through as energy. And this may have been the passion that Nick always wanted, was some sort of approval from Brian, but never got it. Never got the approval. And then you got the Star. Aquarius energy. I'm not laughing at the circumstances, just the way the cards fell. Let me tell you something. Nick inspired Brian. Nick was inspired by Brian. Let me say it right, okay? That's the T. That's what you need to know right this moment. The inspiration coming from these two heartthrobs was over a small mind between them both, okay? Ego was here at the last card. So why do we have the Hangman? Shit, I dropped my book. Hangman in reverse. Cancer energy and confinement. One of these boys felt stalled out by the other. I don't feel that Brian was the one, so I'm not going to keep being biased against Nick. But it's here. When it's time to perform or it's time to do something, it was always like David Ruffin, Nick was missing or had to get some sort of conversation to get him lit, to get him pumped up. And I want to start with this Knight right here because this is the second Knight that has come up. When you have feelings of not really realizing that you do things that are unrealistic just because you grew up in something that made you a defensive person, you can't carry that into the world, or you're going to have difficult social situations, difficult, like conscience, the way you think. And this comes through as the truth being revealed to you at this time. But Nick imitated Brian for some reason. Maybe the steps, the look, jocking the swag, whatever it is. The authority that Brian had, he knew about, and Nick kind of followed in his shadows. And he was stubborn about it because he felt that he didn't need to be told by no one. AJ is the only one that I feel could speak up and say yes, no, this, that, in approval to Nick without him getting upset. And you got to know that when that happens, you got to know where you belong. You want to belong and fit right in. So this is what happened, just because you have to compete to compare in this situation. Even though you really don't in real life, this is the way that this entertainment industry is built. Now, I need to know why we have some sort of justice, Libra energy in the present. What's the consequence? There's a justice here for something. Might be these boys getting on tour, getting the money they finally deserve, split up equally here without a woman being involved. You got the Moon in reverse, the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Swords. Here we go. That is the number 10. That is the year that we are... it's not the year we are in. It's the end of the completion. Excuse me. Let me clear that up. And because we have these all bandmates here, you can see where the battle of the bands begin. These boys had so much tension between them, and it's not in the end. All right, this was in the very beginning, because as they got older, I think less feelings of caring about those things that were minuscule. They just wanted the money. They just wanted to get everything done. But they avoided so much conflict and tried to just not have any more fights, that I feel like whatever consequence is coming up, it's because of a thought and reaction from a past time. I don't know if AJ stepped in and broke up a fight between these two boys. I don't know if AJ stood by and watched kind of Brian and Nick like just argue back and forth. He tried to like compromise, but somebody always wanted revenge, and he was always taking weapons. He was always taking something, so they didn't have something seriously to hurt each other here, because it wasn't that serious. Nick wanted clarity from Brian, the Pisces, the moon in Pisces. Thank you, Spirit. There is some sort of secret that's revealed, needs to be revealed, but it's not veiling here. What's the secret? I feel like it's a woman, another girl they were fighting over. Same girl, same girl. The chicken with the head. I'll tell you about that hoe here. Females are always involved when it comes to boys being no longer friends. But this comes in as something that he was lured in to do, but it may not. He may have overstepped his boundaries when it came to Brian. That's Nick. All right, why do we have this Page of Swords in reverse? These boys definitely had sarcastic things going back and forth on set. They never really could just get through a whole practice show performance without some sort of argument. They may do now, but in the beginning they did not. And that's because of this family dynamic. Now, here's what we got with this teamwork that's no longer happening here. I don't know if this is the other bandmates, the other three, something just being over excessive, and the Brian, the other guy, Kevin, and them kind of celebrating. But you can see here that sometimes that's just what it was. They were tired of this diabolical mother, and I feel like these thoughts and actions becoming behind somebody that's rude. Okay, so they laughed, they joked, they talked about it, and he may have heard and walked up on them, telling AJ, showing him receipts. You know, I don't know what it was back then, but you got somebody who was just flat out finding out. They found out what they were saying. And once you accept that, you don't want to feel content, but you got to know that, hey, all right, I'll be satisfied with what y'all feel about me, what y'all think. But the real satisfaction doesn't come from, you know, the gossip and all that stuff. It was the fact that he had a place. He had some sort of place in this, I don't want to say piece of history, but it is. And that they couldn't take it away no matter how they felt about him. I don't know where that's coming from. But I thank you, spirits, for me getting this done. And then here's the moon one more fucking time. The truth is being illuminated to you right this moment through the cards. But you also need to see that this rules in Cancer, and Pisces is here. So when I tell you Nick wanted some understanding from Brian, he always requested it. But it's like, what for here? You know why. They've had a conversation 1,000 times. This woman is cold-hearted, and she's too cruel to be around. He would get overly emotional. Then he would get overly emotional, Nick. He may suffer from mental illness. She did it. Getting overly emotional. There she is again. The king and the queen because of these parents. I don't know when that dad passed away and perished. The Carters. Nevertheless, it's black and white here in this Cancer energy. This is also the moon in Aries. So here we go again with Pisces. Nick was too much of an outburst. He just repressed a lot of feelings without using intuition. He didn't stand up for what he really saw every single day like those other boys, of this woman having some sort of vision, always coming in and involving, putting up some sort of wall and block between the growth and what they needed to get done. Very sweet, very kind, always coming in, but really depressing his mind. The depression is what got the outbursts with fights, harsh, crazy moments. King of Pentacles, father passing away. Nick never got over a lot of things. I think he's no longer here. Somebody's gone. This King of Pentacles. This really feels like there was only harsh words that were said. And this is what triggered Nick. Wasteful, wasteful. You're wasting, wasting. But he didn't take it as a drive. He took it as an insult instead. Sometimes people want to encourage you with words, but you have to move and you have to be hurt in order to be moved by them. Freedom, rebellion. Nick also knew that Brian could go away by himself. That's why Nick tried to do it, and it wasn't a good result. He also has, you know, these feelings of doing stuff that people want to do to feel good. And it's not like the public's business, whether it's overly drinking, the cocaine, whatever it is. He doesn't want people to know. And so that created dead energy between them. That created a distance in separation, in a connection, because not all these boys did this forever. And Nick apparently did. The final card is the Sun in reverse. This is all ego blocked. And happiness too. There's no enthusiasm in the future. They may still be trying to get over a few. There's justice again. Okay, they're still in the saddest card in the deck. Let me tell you something about rejection before I get off of here. Rejection is the hardest thing that anybody can accept. Why? Because they feel like, well, what the fuck did I do? Why are you feeling this way with me? Why can't we be friends? You don't know how to self-forgive because it's an inability to understand people not seeing a luxury in you for some reason. And when I tell you that Nick really looked up to Brian as some sort of, it's like AJ was the father figure, but Brian really could have guarded him, but he was too busy being reckless. And I mean, guarded him with the fashion, guarded him of the things that kept his mind still. Talking about family, he never really opened up like he did with AJ. And so after a while, the excuses became some sort of dishonest, corrupt. And it was dishonest because Brian wanted Nick to take some sort of accountability in all of this. And I don't know how he could take accountability from a woman that raised him to be just this way that he is. This is his identity. Thank you, Spirit. You are a product of your environment. No matter if you can doll yourself up, you can still look in that eyes and see a fucking crazy person. The product of your mother. And I'm not disrespecting anyone. It's just what it is. The eyes are the hearts, the windows to the soul. The heartbeat is through the mother's womb. That's how you know. So you can't be upset, and I don't want to sit here and have sympathy for Nick, but he had an identity problem that he really needed to deal with, and Brian was his kind of protege, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. Brian wasn't nobody, hangman for the final time. He didn't want nothing to do with that shit. This is Neptune. This is him avoiding some sort of sacrifice again. And this really made Nick upset. This made Nick, who's better? Who's better? I'm better. Who's cuter? It's always some sort of comparison argument. But really, it should have been, hey, I look up to you, and let's lead with respect. But he couldn't do that, only with AJ. And that just comes through as it gets.